and welcome to Nationwide on this Good Friday. I'm Ian Ray John. Thank you for joining us. We'll begin with President Muhammadu Buhari rejoicing with all Nigerians, especially Christians, on the glorious occasion of the celebration of Easter. In his message, President Buhari says Easter is the most important feast in the Christian calendar and represents God's redemptive mission over humanity, the triumph of light over darkness, hope over despair, and good over evil, and also a time to emulate the virtues of love, sacrifice, forgiveness, and endurance which Christ embodied and demonstrated during his earthly ministry. While encouraging the bond of brotherhood and good neighborliness, the president expressed sadness over communities caught up in cycle of violence and encourages Nigerians to unite against evil minority. President Muhammadu Buhari enjoins all Nigerians to intensify prayers for the country and promises not to take his re-election for granted, especially on the expectations of Nigerians. Christians in Nigeria and around the world are set for the Easter celebration. First, with the marking of Good Friday. What is Good Friday and why do we call Good Friday good? In this special report, Ololade Alayaki takes a look at what the day truly means to different people.
For many Christians around the world, Good Friday is a crucial day of the year. It commemorates Jesus Christ's passion, crucifixion, and death as narrated in the Christian Bible. But what does Good Friday really mean to Nigerians?
Good Friday is a day that we remember the death of our Lord Jesus Christ, the day he was crucified on the cross of Calvary. For Christians, it's a day that we have a sober reflection of how we died for our sins.
Good Friday is a Friday before Easter, and it signifies only, is in the memory of the death of Christ.
It's a very significant day in the life of Christians, especially Christians, a day that Christ, our Lord and Savior, died.
So Good Friday is like sort of a reflection of what Jesus Christ has done for us. You know, the sacrifices he made so that we Christians can be free, so that we can have liberty, so that we can have salvation.
As Lent winds to a close for the Christian Church, believers will commemorate Holy Thursday and Good Friday in preparation for the celebration of the resurrection on Easter Sunday. What is the significance of Good Friday to Christians? What impact does it have on Christians?
What is very good here that we must note is that all these are lessons for us to live good lives. That one man volunteered to die for the sins of the whole world, and he died so that all of us will be saved and live eternally with God.
The essence of Good Friday is to give us hope that what are you going through? Are you sick? That is your Friday. Have you lost your job? Have you lost your property? Is anybody died in your life? That's your own Friday. Just know that as we had that Friday, Good Friday, your Sunday is coming. Your Sunday of health is coming. Your Sunday of business is coming. Your Sunday of relationship is coming. Your Sunday of this nation is coming.
It was on the day that the price to redeem mankind was paid. When the price was paid, it was heavy, but the outcome of the price has brought the redemption to mankind. So today we can say, indeed, it's Good Friday.
On Good Friday, there are many traditions Christians, especially Catholics, follow. Most of all, they do not partake in, like eating of red meat. But are Nigerians really marking the day right?
Some of us are not marking it right with the way we live, our lifestyle. Some of us live horrible lifestyle, drunkenness, theft, fraudulence, pride, arrogance, disobedience. These are some of the things we do to contradict what Jesus had done for us.
Peaceful coexistence, love, and forgiveness has been advocated by religious leaders this season. In Abuja, Ololade Alayaki, NTA News.
And still on Good Friday, guests on Good Morning Nigeria have emphasized that qualities such as love, humility, and sacrifice should be imbibed by Nigerians for unity and peaceful coexistence. Daniel Aderie tells us more.
The guests noted that sacrifice is a key trait of Christ, which Nigerians should emulate and exhibit, as Jesus Christ was crucified and sacrificed on the cross of Calvary for the salvation of mankind.
Wherever he was born on this earth, he has already sacrificed for us. and by sacrifice his own very life, going to the cross to die for us. Most of the accidents, vehicular accidents in the city of Abuja is at the junctions, it's at the runabouts. And it's because people refuse to sacrifice. Sacrifice a second, 2 seconds, allowing the other person to pass. There will be no accident. But because human beings were not ready to sacrifice, then we are having a lot of problems.
Founder and National Coordinator, Holy Family Society, David Osunde, called for people to emulate the Christ-like humility, which he says is key to promoting peaceful coexistence among people.
If you wanted to be born in Sheraton or the best hotel in the world, you would have been born there. But he showed us that example of humility. And everywhere he went, he was doing good. Can Christians copy that? That you should make up your mind that, look, you know there is difference between good and bad. Choose the way of goodness.
Director Special Duties and State Operations National Orientation Agency, Mete Edekobi, noted that women play a crucial role in fostering and promoting peace, which formed part of the foundation upon which the ministry of Jesus Christ was built.
Women have an integral part and a role to play in the whole process of Christianity, because even training the child the way they should go, so they do not depart from it. Without appearing to be argumentative, I believe that the women are doing very well in the house of God.
They called on all Nigerians to reflect soberly on the significance of the Easter season and live Christ-like lives. In Abuja, Daniel Aderiye, NTA News.
And away from Good Friday, the presidency has affirmed that the conviction of former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Mr. Walter Onnoghen, by the Code of Conduct Tribunal was a major victory for the anti-corruption policy of the Buhari's administration. Reacting to the verdict, the presidency says the outcome of the trial demonstrates clearly that the law is no respecter of persons, titles, social or political connections. The statement added that the essence of the rule of law is to hold everyone accountable equally before the law, regardless of their high or low status in the society. The presidency says the conviction of Justice Onnoghen should send a clear message that the dragnet against corruption will be spread widely to hold public officials accountable, whether they are politicians, judges, civil servants, or holding positions of public trust. Moving on, the 4-month trial on a 6-count charge of false declaration by the Code of Conduct Tribunal on the suspended Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onnoghen, has been a subject of discourse, and guests on NTA's flagship program, Good Morning Nigeria, have commended the judgment by the Code of Conduct Tribunal, referring to it as a victory for the rule of law. Lawyer and public affairs analyst Aliyu Abdullahi noted that former Chief Justice Onnoghen was convicted not because he did not declare his assets at all, but because he did so partially, which he said contravenes the tenet that guides the process of
the law didn't require a declaration. It requires at all the time when you are declaring it, every 4 years, you have to declare fully. And that's the problem here. He didn't do it. If you do it, the form will show so.
Public affairs analyst Judicial points out that while there are a few loopholes in the legal system which has constituted a few legal irregularities, there must be a constitution review which he says will strengthen the effect of the law.
I agree with you that there are serious challenge and lacuna in our law, and now that we have opportunity to rectify, people are calling for a process-led constitutional, new constitution.
They called for strict adherence by public office holders to the rule of law. And still on the judiciary, a prosecution witness in the trial of Dr. Doyin Okukwe says the former special assistant to the president on public affairs did not pay any media outfit from the funds belonging to the office of the National Security Advisor. His testimony forms part of proceedings at the trial before the Federal High Court in Abuja. Olabode Arewa tells us more.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission arraigned Doyin Okukwe, Value Trust Investments Limited and Abraham Telecoms Limited on 49-count charge bordering on alleged fraud and receiving money from the National Security Advisor's office. At the resumed trial, the prosecution witness Ibrahim Audu called Remigius Ngu a staff of Zenith Bank. The witness tendered bank statements which showed that Doyin Okupe had financial interest in the two aforementioned companies. He, however, told the court that there was no evidence that any money was paid to the media outfits from the bank. After his witness, the defense counsel asked the court for an adjournment to enable them obtain more documents for their defense.
The duty is on the prosecution to prove this case beyond reasonable doubt, and that is what we are doing.
In the statement to the EFCC, you never mentioned that any payments were made to NTA or any media house from the account of Dr. Doyin Okupe.
So we are going to test the evidence of the prosecution at the cross-examination.
The case has been adjourned to the 14th of May 2019 in Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
And on the new minimum wage, the All Progressives Congress, APC, has commended President Muhammadu Buhari on his assent to the new and improved minimum wage for Nigerian workers. A statement by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Larry Isaonilo, described the gesture as another election promise delivered, adding that workers truly deserve a new, improved and implementable minimum wage in view of current economic realities. The party equally acknowledged President Buhari's led APC administration as exhibited in the federal government's bailouts to states' government to pay workers' salaries, housing schemes for civil servants, among other welfare packages. Also commended our stakeholders that ensured the achievement of this laudable feat, particularly the National Assembly, state governors, the Ama-Pepo-led Tripartite Committee, Labour, trade unions, and indeed Nigerian workers. The Buhari Media Organization has commended the decision of President Muhammadu Buhari to sign into effect the 30,000 naira minimum wage for Nigerian workers. In a statement by its chairman, Niyi Akinshiju, and Secretary Cassidy Madwike, BMO noted that President Buhari has consistently shown that he is the workers' friend and that he cares about the welfare of the ordinary people. The president's decision to sign the upward review of the minimum wage even after the election shows that he is not an ovation-seeking president, but rather a pragmatic leader who wants to ensure that there is budgetary provision to accommodate the increase in the minimum wage. The group thanked all those who ensured the tripartite structure of state, federal, and labor unions reached an agreement that will increase the purchasing power of the people. And away from the minimum wage now, the Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Dr. Mike Antibaru, has reaffirmed the readiness of the NNPC to ensure adequate supply of petroleum products in all the nooks and crannies of the country during the Easter holiday and beyond. A release by the NNPC Group General Manager, Public Affairs, Undu Ugamadu, said the corporation's helmsman informed that currently NNPC is responsible for 75% gas supply to power in the country to the 300 million standard cubic feet of gas per day power plants. He added that similar supply of petroleum products has brought stability in the prices of goods and services. And if you just joined us, you're watching Nationwide live on the network service of the NTA. Time to pause for some commercials. The news returns in a bit.
Marketing of broadcast media products requires special skills which can only be acquired through training and experience. NTA TV College Jos is therefore organizing an intensive 3-week course on modern trends in broadcast media marketing. The course will equip participants with necessary skills to deal with contemporary marketing challenges and competition in the broadcast media. It is an essential course for marketers in the broadcast media to sharpen their skills and improve their capacities. Date 23rd April to 10th May 2019. Venue NTA Television College Refuge Jos. Course fee 100,000 naira per participant, accommodation inclusive. For more inquiries, please contact us on 0803 314-4383 or 0806-980-9807. NTA TV College Jos, training you to be the best you want to be.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
When you hear that sound, you know that Nigeria's most authentic newscast is about to begin. NTA Network News, breaking the news for over 40 years.
Glad to have you back. And at this time, we shall join Jennifer in Lagos for more stories on Nationwide.
Thank you, Yeri, and welcome to Lagos. As Christians the world over commemorate the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, the faithful have been enjoined to show love and render selfless service to all. Christian leaders gave the advice at the various Good Friday services in Lagos. Jane Ojuku has more.
Good Friday is significant in the Christian calendar as the day God's begotten Son was condemned to death for crimes he did not commit, all in his efforts to save man from eternal damnation. Some churches organized Good Friday procession, reenacting the Station of the Cross, depicting how Jesus was tortured on his way to Golgotha, where he was finally crucified.
It is that day that we are restored to God through Christ. He paid the price by shedding his blood. He became the sacrificial lamb. He became the altar, the priest, and the victim for our sake.
Jesus did all this for love, so that we too as Christians, we should be ready to reciprocate that love to the people of God, to humanity.
We decided to take it outside the street so that non-Catholics can really understand the meaning. And as we moved on, you saw it was dramatized and people really appreciated, so they felt the pains that Christ had during his passion.
On Good Friday, many Christians abstain from eating meat in reverence to crucifixion of Christ. The ceremony began yesterday with the washing of feet, in line with the example laid down by Jesus Christ, which practicalized the attitude of selflessness.
So the message of Jesus today is for us to be Christians. Before his followers, then we must be ready to serve. We must remove our pride, get down on our knees and serve.
What else for us to thank the God, the Lord who suffered for us? It's a time for us to go through a lot, to pray for ourselves.
The events for the Holy Week are a build-up to the Easter celebration, which is the resurrection of Jesus from the dead, the bedrock of Christianity. In Lagos, Jane Ojuku, NTA News.
Thank you, Jane. Now, the Easter holiday is usually a long weekend, which provides people with the rare opportunity of traveling to other towns to reunite with loved ones. Annie Daniels visited some motor parks in Lagos to observe the level of interstate movements.
The popular Ido Motor Park was strangely quiet. A few empty buses and no passengers on ground.
All this route is meant for northern route. You can only see them in the evening. People that are traveling down to east, if you go to Alafia, Jibowu, and Maza, that's where you see passengers bubbling here and there.
True to his words, the motor parks around Jibowu were a beehive.
We came here very early in the morning. They told us we are going to Nsukka with a minibus, of which we asked them the price. They said it was 7,200. As we were standing there on the queue purchasing tickets, they now said it's 8,200.
They collected money for us for minibus, but they're giving us all this Aproca vehicle.
Well, I wasn't interested in the hike. I just wanted to get a bus and get to where I'm going to.
I asked this transporter the reason for the hike in transport fare.
When this vehicle go now, some of them will blow empty to come and carry people, so they have to put in the cost and the logistics. That's why there's a little increment in the price.
While still at the motor parks, I saw several people walking in with their luggage and others driving in to board vehicles. Some of them who declined speaking on camera say they cannot imagine celebrating Easter without their loved ones. On a personal note, it was pretty easy carrying out these assignments because, unlike other days, virtually all Lagos roads were devoid of traffic. Lagosians only hope and pray that Lagos roads will remain like this, traffic-free, so that those of us who work on the island will go to work fresh and come back fresh and better. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Now, business operators along the Apapa corridor have started calculating the economic impact of the reconstruction of the Apapa-Oworoshoki Expressway. Now, while some are counting the immediate loss, others are optimistic of the long-term gain. Michael Olale reports that work is at the preliminary stage at the Creek and Liverpool axis of the road.
Excavation of the existing base has been done by awaiting evacuation. This is the situation in virtually all parts of Section A, which terminates at Beachland. This development has rendered the 3 carriage lanes impassable.
There's no linking road down here because the construction is simultaneous. In terms of charges of trucks, it has really risen because of that. And the delivery of container slowed down.
It was a beehive at the Tinkan Island section of the road, with most of the traders expecting relocation anytime soon. Rashidi is a maritime worker with 20 years experience. He is not concerned about the hazard associated with the reconstruction, but the benefits once completed.
I know if the road is free, there will be a lot of things that we change to good for the masses.
The contractor handling the project said the work has been carefully divided into sections to aid traffic flow in and out of the port.
The plan is to capture the 2 lanes together, where we keep the other one for the traffic inflow. Once we are done with this other side of the way, the carriageway, then we are going to swap, we'll move them back.
That area is going to be construction zone. And of course, once you move, even if it's 50 kilometers an hour, you will get to your destination.
The reconstruction of the Apapa-Oworoshoki Expressway is expected to be completed within the next 24 months. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
Now that's a contribution from Lagos. We head back to Abuja for continuation of Nationwide.
Many thanks, Jennifer. The House of Representatives has urged states of the Federation to adopt the law on the prohibition of violence against persons towards fast-tracking prosecution of cases of violence against women and girls. It was in the light of this that the House Committee on Women Affairs and Social Development organized a summit to further enlighten key players on the law. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The bill on the prohibition of violence against persons was passed by the National Assembly and signed into law in 2015. So far, 9 states have domesticated the law, with 27 others yet to do so. Speaker, House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara, in a message to the summit, said the law seeks to safeguard vulnerable persons within the family, community and society, adding that it covers offences such as trafficking in persons, sexual exploitation, economic abuse, harassment, and other forms of harmful traditional practice.
This law, as it is like a lame duck. State governments who should give effect to the laws have not domesticated or enforced it. The essence of this summit is to sensitize and encourage all states to key into this law by taking appropriate steps for its domestication and enforcement.
With the adoption of that Act, all other laws dealing with violence under the criminal and penal codes will be superseded and determined by a new set of guidelines. It will provide a voice for the 1 in every 3 voiceless Nigerian women and other persons aged 15 to 49 years who have suffered violence in their lifetime.
The event featured paper presentations on the role of the legislature in shaping social behavior for nation building and gender-sensitive legislations and national developments.
Also, the Trafficking in Persons Act, which set up the NAPTIP, which regulates our behavior.
You're passing a law, you need to finance its implementation. And that's why every law comes with a compendium, which you know means the amount of resources required to have the law take effect.
A communique was issued at the end of the summit. Lami Ali, NTA News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has assured that it is working tirelessly to ensure that it promotes an inclusive and credible election that will take into cognizance the special needs of Nigeria's 27.3 million persons living with disabilities. This was at an agenda for the Stakeholders Learning and Documentation Workshop on the outcome of the 2019 general elections as it affects persons living with disabilities. Timothy Yusuf reports on the workshop organized by the Albino Foundation.
58-year-old founder of the Albino Foundation, Jake Ekpele, voted for the first time in the recent 2019 general election. Reason is simple. It takes persons living with albinism just 10 minutes of exposure to the sun to attract skin cancer.
The environment was one. The non-compliance of the system, the electoral system that allows us to vote and exit was not there.
The likes of Rabbi Mustafa Niron Ojekale also suffers their own varying degree of factors hindering them from exercising their civic responsibility. All of these challenges have, however, become a thing of the past due to INEC's strategic plan that has ensured the participation of marginalized groups in the electoral process.
We have worked together and we have seen where we were before is no longer where we are today.
This workshop is a post-mortem of how this category of persons living with disabilities fared during the 2019 general election.
The challenges are enormous, but I also want to commend INEC to say that they have started the right step. We need to take that step and ensure that we arrive at a destination where all will be totally mainstream, adequately included in the process.
While INEC has initiated several measures to ensure that persons living with disabilities are mainstreamed into electoral processes, participants are calling for widespread targeted voter education and sensitization ahead of future elections. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Many thanks, Timothy. One of the yardsticks used in measuring a viable democracy is the level of inclusiveness as it affects women and disadvantaged groups. This assertion is what some institutions and organizations are meeting in Abuja to analyze, with the just concluded general elections as a case study. Momso Damian Dati reports.
Shortly before the just concluded general elections, there were advocacies, roundtable discussions, series of meetings, and lobbying by women
to see how a good number of them can be actively involved in the political process and subsequently acquire key leadership roles. The outcome is, however, discouraging, which informed the decision for this roundtable by stakeholders from national and international organizations.
We have 7 women now in the Senate, but like last time in year 2015, we had 7 women. The court removed 2, we were left with 5. Now in the House of Representatives that we had 27, in year 2011, we now had 14. There is this concern. Instead of us moving forward, we are moving backwards. And we have brought different people together today to have a conversation. How can we ensure that these spaces that the women lost, that we get it back?
The reality is that there are structures on ground and systems in place that keep women out. The lack of democracy within the political parties. We live in a patriarchal society.
While assessing the role of women in disadvantaged groups, the roundtable believes that early planning and re-strategizing with continuous advocacy will address the issue in subsequent elections.
I see nothing wrong for an election management body to make it compulsory for a party to submit new rules and constitutions that, for example, make provision for women representation. We can use the instrument of regulating parties to do that and ask political parties every 5 years to report their compliance with that.
Women should take control of the process, promoting the idea of the need for more women to come out and participate in the process, that women have the power, they have the capacity, but more importantly, they have the numbers.
However, given a good number of women appointed positions can salvage the present damage, they say. In Abuja, Momso Damian Ati, NTA News.
And Maiduguri is our next port of call, while Abubakar will give us an update from that zone. It's over to you, Abubakar.
Thank you, Ian Ray, in compliments of the season. Christian faithful in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, joined their counterparts across the world to observe Good Friday, the day Jesus Christ was crucified over 2,000 years ago. Christian brethren, to include Catholic, Anglican, and the Orthodox, among other denominations, were all out in their various places of worship to observe the age-long Christian rites. Jadwa Chunjesni captured some church services across the metropolis and now reports.
Good Friday is a Christian holiday marking the crucifixion of Jesus Christ and his death at Calvary, which is observed with fasting, almsgiving, worship and prayer vigil services, among other activities. Clergies at churches visited reminded their members of the distinct demonstration of love by Jesus Christ, who played the sacrificial substitute in order for man to obtain forgiveness and salvation from God.
Jesus Christ came and died because of his love towards us as God's children. We reflect on what Jesus did for us, and it helps us to grow spiritually.
This freedom that we are enjoying today, it is because of this work that Christ has done on the cross of Calvary for mankind.
Humanity should reciprocate by accepting him as their Lord and Savior.
Faithfuls were also reminded of the importance of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ to the Christendom, with a call on them to key into the good virtues exhibited by Jesus Christ.
It's a day we will always cherish and remember.
We mark Christ, and he says we should love and we should go out and evangelize. We should love everybody, and that's the message of Easter.
Collective prayers were offered for peace, mercy, and grace, as well as a better Nigeria.
The death of Jesus Christ is nothing different but a perfect atonement for sin and the restoration of man to right standing with God. In Maiduguri, Jadwa John Jason, NTA News.
Thank you, Jadwa. The national leadership of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has appreciated the Shehu of Borno, Abubakar Ibn Umar Garba El-Kanemi, for carrying the Christian community along in the affairs of his emirate and other activities in the state. President of the association, Reverend Samson Supo Ayokunle, made the commendation when he paid homage to the Shehu during his 2-day visit on the Christian community in Borno State. Pauline Kujevana will now bring us more details of the story.
The National President, Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Samson Shupo Ayokunle and his entourage were in Shehu's palace to express gratitude to the Shehu of Borno for the fatherly role and inclusive leadership irrespective of religious and tribal differences. Shehu of Borno, Abubakar Ibn Umar Garba Al-Amin El-Kanemi, traced the history of the Emirate Council, saying, carrying all along will further strengthen the peaceful coexistence with religious and traditional institutions. The president, in an interaction with the leadership of State CAN and internally displaced persons, said they came not to only distribute relief materials, but to also share the pains and identify with the IDPs.
I want to thank CAN and other well-spirited individuals, especially the governor of the state, giving the resources of the state to take care of these people.
State CAN Chairman Bishop William Naga and Bishop of Anglican Diocese of Maiduguri, Most Reverend Emmanuel Morris, highlighted the contributions of government and humanitarian agencies to the plight of IDPs and Christian community in Borno. National Body of the Christian Community presented 500 bags of rice, 50 sewing machines, and 7 million naira to the IDPs in Maiduguri. Pauline Kujevana, NTA News.
The need for peaceful coexistence among the different Islamic sects in Borno State as a tool for checking divisiveness, disharmony, and promoting greater understanding of the religions has again been stressed. This formed part of issues discussed at a one-day panel on religious freedom and peaceful coexistence in Borno State that took place in Maiduguri, organized by the Jamaatul Nasrul Islam in collaboration with a non-governmental organization, Mercy Co. Amina Fidi Amadou now reports.
The aim of the gathering was rubbing minds and understanding one another so as to champion the cause of Islam. Speakers at the event said the insurgency brought setback and division among the different sect members, and the only way forward, burying their divide and preaching peaceful coexistence and unity of purpose. Chief Imam of Borno, represented by Abba Umar, advised scholars to preach according with the tenets of Islam, State Secretary, Borno State Elders Forum, Dr. Bula Amali Kubiu, emphasized the need for government to checkmate activities of preachers in the state.
Without peace and tranquility, without understanding, without bond of relationship between persons and groups, there will be no peace. And where there is no peace, there is no human development.
To join their concept in one direction, not accuse some ideologies or some concept of other Muslims.
It's a very high achievement for organizing such an occasion which unify all these sects.
It is expected that the tenets of religion be properly understood. In Maiduguri, Amina Fide Amadou, NTA News.
Nationwide, enjoy the rest of the holiday.
Many thanks, Abu Bakr. Moving on, wars are mostly fought with the use of weapons to defeat the enemy, but under the non-kinetic efforts of the Nigerian army, there are certain wars that are fought without arms. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has explanations to enlighten us.
The operations of the Nigerian army across the country. The fighting formation has different non-kinetic projects and programs aimed at winning the hearts and minds of the public. This medical outreach, organized by the 16th Brigade Asaba Delta State, is among the non-kinetic programs of the civil military relations of the Nigerian Army. 84 years old Patricia Biachi from Umuachi community in Asaba is among the beneficiaries of the service.
I worked for 35 years, retired. I don't have money. The money they give me as pension is not enough to carry me. So I am happy. For the treatment, for this free treatment, I'm very happy. I thank you and God bless you.
We want to when I say the Nigerian Army is concerned about our community, concerned about our health, concerned about our family. So we're going to take advantage of this medical outreach so that when I get the medicine to cure the small ailment where they suffer. If when I get big ailment or big disease, our doctor whether here will help you go big hospital to be treated.
The Army Chief appealed to the people to see security as a collective responsibility by ensuring timely provision of credible information to enhance proactive rather than reactive measures to security threats. From Asaba Delta State, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And still on security, the Minister of Defense, Monsieur Danali, has commended the Federal Republic of Germany for her support to Nigerian armed forces under the Nigeria-Germany bilateral relations. The minister gave the commendation during the inauguration of the remodeled medical center at Martin Luther International Leadership and Peacekeeping Center, Kaduna, and receiving of mobile medical equipment. Haman Jabani reports.
The facility inaugurated by the Minister of Defense, represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, has been remodeled and upgraded to Level 2 Minus Hospital, equipped with operating theatre and intensive care unit, with 24 hours oxygen support, internal medicine and other life-saving facilities. The mobile medical care unit and the trauma mobile care unit, donated by the German government, are also equipped with the state-of-art facilities and are powered by solar panel and powered generators.
The center was equipped by the German government with an X-ray machine as well as other medical equipment. Also, the laboratory will be upgraded to provide first-class medical analysis.
Take it as a genuine manifestation of the close and most amicable relations between the Federal Republic of Germany and the Federal Republic of Nigeria and their armed forces in particular.
Representative of Chief of Defense Staff and the Chief of Army Staff said the 3 projects donated by the German government through the German Technical Advisory Group and the training of 200 Nigerian medical personnel in the 3 military services are essential to be used in the context of internal security, crisis management, and national defense.
The German Technical Assistance Group has played a very active advisory role
and the training efforts of the armed forces of Nigeria in non-lethal area of military activities. This has impacted upon the center's medical structure in training and capacity development, which is in line with the Chief of Army Staff vision to have a professionally responsive Nigerian Army in the discharge of its constitutional roles.
The medical center is one of the projects provided by Germany under the Equipment Aid Program for Foreign Armed Forces and related assignment of the German Armed Forces. Hamman Germany, NTA News.
An investigative panel is to be set up at the Nigerian Air Force to look into allegations by the Zamfara Council of Chiefs, which has accused the Nigerian Air Force of killing innocent civilians in airstrikes. Correspondent Najatu Tijani has details.
Serious allegations requiring quick action to put the record straight.
As a responsible service, the Nigerian Air Force also wishes to clarify that in all of its airstrikes within the northwest Zamfara state and its environs, no bombs were used. This has been deliberately done in view of the nature of threats as well as the operational environment, despite the fact that we know that those armed bandits have anti-aircraft guns in their possession.
The allegations about casualties were first leveled against the Nigerian Air Force by the Council after an April 9, 2019 mission to which the NAF asked for proof. In response, the Nigerian Air Force is honoring its promise to institute an investigative panel to look into these allegations. Meanwhile, in a separate press release issued this 18th April 2019, the Nigerian Air Force will be celebrating its 55th anniversary from the 27th to 29th April 2019 in Abuja. The Nigerian Air Force advises members of the public not to panic, but to go about their normal activities. During rehearsals from the 22nd to 30th April 2019, Najatu Tijani, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide. We shall take a break now. More news when we return. Stay with us.
A new edition of TV Guide is out with special focus on the role of the media in election coverage. Exclusive on the National Broadcasting Commission, its mandate as the sole regulator of Nigerian media. Dr. Toba Daba then and Ishak Modibo Kawu now. This edition also features the king of stand-up comedy in Nigeria, Ali Baba. NTA standards to be ready for election transmission after decades of abandonment. Find out from the DG transactional elections in our political space. An evil wind that blows no good. DG, National Orientation Agency Caution. TV Guide, your indispensable companion, x-rays the impact of social media on electioneering process as electorates present their expectations from incoming government. Meet some TV professionals behind the screen and other inspiring stories in sports, entertainment, and lots more. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or NTA stations nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA. Get the latest news and updates from across Nigeria on NTA Nationwide. NTA Nationwide, weekdays by 4 p.m. Get it first, get it fresh.
Thank you for staying. Nasima empowers women in Ibadan. Kemi in our Ibadan Center has details. Hello, Kemi.
Larry, and welcome to Ibadan. Christians in Ibadan metropolis observed the Good Friday at various churches with a charge to use lessons learned about the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, especially selflessness, for the nation to achieve the set developmental goals. Larry Bileyi was at some churches and brought back this report.
The Friday before the Easter Sunday, known as Good Friday, is one of the holy days in Christendom. It is a day the crucifixion of Christ is commemorated. Traditionally, it's a day of fasting and penance, and it's often marked solemnly. This is reflected in most churches in Ibadan metropolis as Christians gather to observe the Good Friday. One of the high points of this day is often the dramatization of the Station of the Cross in most churches to drive home the message that Jesus Christ willingly laid down his life as sacrifice for the salvation of mankind. A message, the clerics say, many Nigerians should take a cue from in their socio-economic and cultural charges.
We should pray for the redemption of this country. We want to employ the leaders of this country, those who are going, to support those who are coming, so that they may not work against one another.
It's time as a nation to stand and to call on God, because I believe with God on our side we shall do greatly and things will be for our good.
Good Friday is also a time for the congregation to re-examine themselves and rekindle their faith in whom they believe, enhancing their journey in spiritual edification. In Ibadan, Larry Bileyi, NTA News.
Ogun State Governor-elect Dapo Abiodun has inaugurated a 23-member Economic Transition Committee and 235 work groups to develop a realistic roadmap for implementation for the incoming administration. Inaugurating the committee in Ugiri Remo, the Governor-elect charged members to work assiduously to deliver the campaign promises made to the people. Yemi Dalimo completes the story.
Inaugurating the committee, whose membership cuts across professionals, political affiliations, gender and demography, the governor-elect said his vision is to provide good and focused governance that will create enabling environment for sustainable economic development of the state, which will in turn translate to improved welfare for citizens. Hence, the committee members must key into this vision. Dapo Abiodun emphasized that recommendations and framework that will be developed will not be used to decorate the shelf, but will be brilliantly implemented.
The transition committee and the work group are requested to come up with recommendations on monitoring and evaluation mechanism, which is now referred to as government delivery.
Former CBN Deputy Governor Mr. Tunde Lemo, who heads the Economic Transition Committee, gave the breakdown of the assignment before them.
The transition committee will ensure smooth and efficient transition from the old to the new government. I will partner to recruit uninterrupted delivery of critical government services during the transition.
The two committees are expected to submit the outcome of their assignment before May 29, so that the government will hit the ground running without delay. In Ichebudi, Yemi Dalemo, NTA News.
The Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, NASIMA, Business Women Group has organized a focus group session to discuss empowerment initiative for women in business at all levels to boost economic growth. Grace Bamidele reports.
As part of efforts to create a better business environment for women at all levels, especially in the area of assessing loans, Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, NASIMA, Business Women Group, NAWOG, in collaboration with Center for International Private Enterprise, CIPE, organized a roundtable discussion to engage entrepreneurs, financial institutions, and other stakeholders in the business communities to deliberate on policies to improve the level of economic empowerment for women in Nigeria.
So how can we partner with banks to give us access to loans and at a very single digit rate?
BOI contribution to women development and women entrepreneurship cannot be overemphasized.
If a woman is successful, the husband is successful, the children are successful, the environment is successful, the government will increase their GDP.
The roundtable discussion with private and public sector as well as business communities at all levels is part of the mandate for the implementation of the project titled Empower Women Phase 3. In Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, Grace Bamdele, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. Larry, it's back to you.
Thank you, Kemi. President Muhammadu Buhari says he will continue to provide window of opportunity for rural development and economic emancipation for the welfare of Nigerian masses. He gave this assurance during the inauguration of an erosion control and access road project in Oshin-Ekiti in Ekiti State. The report.
To arrest erosion and flood menace in Oshin-Ekiti in the northern part of Ekiti State, to avoid further environmental degradation, loss of lives and property, which has been an annual occurrence in the community. The project was initiated through a request for an urgent intervention by Governor Kayode Fayemi during his first time in office to the president, and consequently approved and awarded for execution by the federal government in 2017, while inaugurating the channelization, erosion control, and access roads project. President Muhammadu Buhari, who was represented by the Chairman Senate Committee on Science and Technology, Senator Ajayi Borofins, identified gully erosion and flooding as age-long problems in some parts of the country, hence the federal government's intervention to bring relief to.
We do sincerely apologize for the pitch in that report. Moving on, building the capacity of teachers is key to meeting modern day techniques. To this end, the Defense and Police Wives Association, the POA, has organized a workshop for the POA teachers, beginning with a network of schools in Abuja. Linda Ogide reports.
It is often said that professional development and training of teachers is necessary in order to keep teachers abreast on the latest techniques that will enhance thinking and teaching skills. That's exactly what the POA is doing by training her nursery, primary and secondary schools teachers on modern technology skills in learning, especially computer skills.
We want them to be creative, we want them to be evaluative. So that's why we know it's very important to train and retrain our teachers.
The teachers were also trained on how to communicate better with the students to improve learning.
I learned how to use ICT to relate classroom management to the students. I also learned how to make use of it properly before going to the classroom to teach the students.
If teaching is evolving, our teachers as well are supposed to know what are the current trends in teaching skills that they can use to help improve learning difficulties.
The theme of the workshop is Higher Order Thinking and Teacher Skills, a recipe for national development. In Abuja, Linda Ogede, NTA News.
A new component has been developed for curriculum in basic education to be infused in various subjects taught in schools across Nigeria, with a view to inculcate among young people understanding of the dangers associated with improper migration and human trafficking. This step by Nigeria Anti-Human Trafficking Agency is part of preventive measures to stamp out activities of human smugglers. Correspondent Usman Aliyu reports.
Early child life is delicate and crucial in human development. It's a moment for skills to be acquired, which later in life help in making decisions, so say educational psychologists. It is in this connection that the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons unveils this document as an educational approach to teach young people the effects of human trafficking and guide school teachers with models.
It is our hope that young Nigerian children will be exposed to the dynamics of the crime of human trafficking, as well as the risks associated with irregular migration, early enough to prevent them from falling victims to the tricks employed by human traffickers. Within this context, ICMPD is supporting the National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, to strengthen the agency's capacity in the areas of training and public education.
We look forward to the implementation of a new project, also funded by the EU, to combat trafficking in West Africa.
One of the important things is working on that big agenda of prevention. And one important aspect of working on prevention is talking to young people.
Indeed, it's a big agenda, and the proponents of the idea hope for its implementation. NAPTIP has been alleging cases involving students kidnapped and trafficked for domestic slavery and sexual abuse. Therefore, steps taken in this new crusade, the agency believes, will help significantly in stamping out the crime of human trafficking. In Abuja, Usman Aliu, NTA News.
It's now time to talk sports, and Ayo DG Makinde brings us details.
Experts